part one of how my baby daddy got me arrested, sent to jail, and put on probation. Now, y'all remember the story when I told y'all we had lived together in the apartment that my mom had co-signed for us. So throughout the time of being there, I had fallen pregnant. Y'all know that he threw me through the TV, kicked me out, amongst other things. So when I got back into the house, it was about a month and a half before we got put out because he wasn't paying the rent. I had started looking for a job. Now, if y'all have been watching my stories, then y'all know that I had almost become a prostitute from trying to find a job on Craigslist. Now, before the prostitute stint, I did find another job on Craigslist saying you could be a secret shopper by going into the store doing this, that, and the third, and we'll cut you a paycheck and you deposit it. Now, y'all remember, I was 17. I was just jumping out into the world. So whatever type of money I thought I was legitly making, I was going to shoot for it. So I went ahead and I applied for the job. Within like 24 hours, somebody had emailed me back, asked me for my name, my address, my date of birth, etc., occupation, whatever, for them to send me my first payment. So of course it does sound too good to be true, even telling the story now, but at the time, about 7 years ago, it didn't seem too fishy. Like, I didn't hear about people being scammed off of Craigslist. Craigslist was like today's Angie's List, if that makes sense. So I ended up responding to the email, gave them the information that they needed. In like 3 days, there was a check in the mail. Now, when I got the check, I'm excited, not knowing that what was going to happen was going to happen. I was excited, so I called my baby dad. I was like, hey man, come home. We need to go to the bank. We got to check the cash. So of course, when there's money calling and he ain't got to do no work, he most definitely coming. So when he got to the house, he was like, where the check at? I want to see it. And when I showed it to him, he was like, oh man, we need to go to the bank because it was drawn on the local bank. Then when we tried to go to the bank to cash it, they wouldn't cash it for some reason, which should have been a red flag. But I was just thinking like maybe because we don't have an account there, maybe because, we're not a member or anything. So let's just go to one of these check cashing places and see if they'll cash it. So of course he was just like, nah, I know a place that we can go. I was like, for real? Because we could really just go up the street to miss a check. I'm quite sure these Iranians will cash the check for us. And Lord behold, we went there and tried to cash and it was like, yeah, nah, we can't do this. Now, anybody in their right mind who would have recognized that the check was just not a good check or the check was a fake check that had been drawn and they were trying to scam us should have told us, but they didn't. Now, one thing, they did attach a letter saying that we needed to deposit the check and that we had to send like an overage balance or whatever back to somebody. But I was just thinking like maybe that was a mistake or maybe somebody's just trying to get my money for my work that I was doing. I wasn't really thinking it through. And before y'all come for me, this was 7 years ago. Thank you. So Joseph ended up saying that we needed to get a car. I was like, all right, cool, where we going to get one? We ended up going to this place called E-Car on West Marshall in Longview, Texas. When we got there, the guy was asking us all the qualifying information, how much money we were going to put down, and Joseph told him that we had a check that came from the school, but we couldn't cash it. So the guy said, that's okay, just give me the check, I'll write you a check for the difference, and you can take it to my bank and cash it. So when I showed him the check, he was like, oh, okay, so she'll have to sign it, you can sign under it, and then I'll write a check to whichever one of y'all wants the check in your name. You want the next part? Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Come back and drop some prayers.